A very good morning to you all. I'm Bhavika and I welcome you all from our Knowledge Transmission Center. Today let's talk about our product Calci Max. So while talking about calcium supplement, yes, we find a lot of calcium supplements in the market, and there are other supplements that you need to take along with calcium so that it gets completely absorbed in our body. For example, vitamin D. So today we will talk to you all about our product Calci Max, in what way it is unique and in what way it is one of the best product of ours. So before starting with our presentation, let me all remind you again that this session is registered under copyright. So while sharing, while uploading or while forwarding with your friends and family, make sure that you do it in its original form. So just observe this building. What does it seem like? It looks like a strong building. The foundation seems right, the pillars seems right. But if the foundation and the pillars are not really strong enough, do you really think the building would stand just the way it was in the previous slide? No, exactly the same. This building is obviously gonna fall apart. Why? Because the pillars are not strong enough to hold the building. It is the same when it comes in our body. The bones are the pillars of our body. Just like those pillars are the foundation for the building, the bones in our body are the foundation for our body itself. Why? Because if the bones are not strong enough, if they are weak, then even our body is going to fall apart. If you go to see this image very clearly, the right hand side is basically our bones with our muscles. The red color what you see is basically the muscles that has been filled up between the bones. The left hand side is the plain bone. So this is how our bones are constructed within our body. This is what we call as a skeletal system. The skeletal system is the foundation of our body. If our bones are not strong enough, this is how our body would look like. We are going to have a hunchback, we are not able to sit properly or stand properly or walk properly. Usually when we see old people, suddenly they have a hunchback, they are not able to lift their body up straight, they are not able to walk just like the way we walk usually in our younger days. Why? Because if you do not take care of your bones in its initial stage, naturally when you start growing old, they start becoming weaker, the calcium starts leaching out from our bones, and naturally our bones are gonna become very weak and we are not gonna have a very strong bones. So that is why taking a calcium supplement like Calci Max is important. Why? For our bone health, we need to make sure that our bones are strong enough so that we do not face any kind of problems in the future. So what is this Calci Max? So Calci Max as an important ingredient in them, a nutrient in them, calcium. So calcium is an important mineral because it helps in building up of new bones. Our bones require good enough of calcium so that they are strong and healthy enough. Calcium is not produced in our body, so it is very important that we get them from our dietary sources. So when we talk about dietary sources, we talk about calcium rich food sources like milk and milk product, few green leafy vegetables, and these naturally contain good amount of calcium. So to continue taking good amount of calcium on day to day life is very necessary, so that our calcium is deposited in our bones and they are strong enough. So remember that calcium is only got from the dietary or from through supplement sources, but our body is not able to produce calcium. So it is very important that we get calcium in a good amount on our day-to-day life. So the function of dietary calcium is largely defined in terms of bone mineralization. So when we talk about bone mineralization, we say that calcium has to be deposited in our bones. Basically the calcium has to get inside our bones so that the bones are able to function regularly, the bones are able to be strong enough, and the resultant density and the strengthening of the skeleton. So basically the strength of our bone are determined by the mineralization that takes place inside the bone, that is basically calcium, phosphorus, zinc getting deposited in our bones, which determines its density and it also determines its strength. So basically it has to show, the mineralization shows how exactly our bones can improve in its density and in its strength. So and lot of studies, lots and lots of studies have showed that daily intake of healthy supplements like Calci D max, that is rich in calcium citrate malate and other suitable ingredients, will help in maintaining a good bone health. When we talk about calcium, depositing any kind of calcium salt will not really help in bone mineralization. Naturally it will not help in strengthening our bones. For having a right amount of calcium salt and a right kind of ingredients combined together will only make sure that calcium is well deposited inside our bone so that they are strong enough. Usually when we talk about calcium loss, we usually tell that women after post menopause, or maybe human for that matter, once they start getting older, the calcium leaches out from their body. The calcium starts leaching out and our bones become weak. So if you go to see this graphical representation, this one clearly tells you, like in the initial stage the calcium is in a good amount. If you go to see the graph, the bone density is strong enough in our initial stage, but once we reach a certain stage, like for women after menopause or for men, once they start reaching a certain age, the calcium starts leaching out from their bones and the bone density decreases. And for women, if you go to clearly see the graph, it completely decreases when you compare it to men. Why? Because during menopause there is hormonal disturbance, the estrogen level comes down. The moment estrogen level comes down, the calcium slowly starts leaching out from our bones. That is why specifically for women, especially after crossing probably 40 years of old, when they attain their menopause, it is very important that they do take calcium supplement, because just getting calcium from dietary source will not be good enough to keep our bones strong. At the same time for men, once they start getting older, just taking calcium from dietary sources will not be good enough. Taking calcium supplement becomes a mandatory thing. So bones are basically, these are rigid. They increase in their density. When they increase in their density, they also are strengthened. They support and protect the various organs of our body. So bones are not only important for in our skeletal system, but for other organs to function regularly, bones again are very important, and these bones are produced in red RBC and WBC. So when we talk about RBC and WBC, these are produced inside our bones. So if our bones are weak, naturally our RBC and WBC also decreases. They are not formed in good number. That's why when we talk about leukemia, cancer, where there is, where good amount of WBC cells, white blood cells are not produced, they usually recommend for a bone marrow transplant. Why? Because the existing bones are not able to produce WBC, hence a bone marrow transplant becomes mandatory. This is just an example what I am giving you. Like if our bones are not healthy enough, if they are not strong enough, naturally our RBC and WBC count also decreases. This is a structure of a bone. If you take one bone and put it under a microscope, this is what you usually get to see. You clearly see the white part is basically the outer surface of the bone, which we have already seen. We have seen this in probably in hospitals or in museum or in television or through Google. But inside view is basically the left hand side view, where you can see the blood vessels, you can also see the red marrow or the yellow marrow, the blood vessels. So these are all present inside the bone. This is what we call as bone matrix, for which we will talk to you all about in our next few slides. So this is a graphical representation of a bone. This is exactly how a bone looks like within our body. So how is lifestyle and bone health relatable? If our lifestyle is not healthy enough, if we do not follow a good lifestyle, naturally our bone health also deteriorates in its function. They become weak. So one of the main cause of bone health decreasing in its function is only because of certain lifestyle that we follow. Like for example, physical activity level. If we are following a very sedentary lifestyle, naturally our bone health also decreases. It can be because of smoking. Because of smoking, the blood vessels also weakens, and then there is no supply, there is no production of RBC. Again, the bone density also decreases. The bones will not be able to produce new cells. Naturally, with alcohol consumption, usually during alcohol consumption, the cortisol level, the progesterone hormone, they increase. So when these hormones increase, naturally the calcium from the bone slowly starts leaching out. That's why even when we consume alcohol, it can lead to decrease in our bone health. Diet. If we do not take good amount of calcium from our dietary sources, or if we do not take vitamin D rich food, again it can lead to decrease in our bone health and few genetic and hormonal functions. So hormonal function, like I explained you few minutes back, if there's estrogen level comes down, then again in women the calcium slowly starts leaching out from the bone. If there is high amount of cortisol in our body, or if there is high amount of progesterone hormone in our body, again the calcium slowly starts leaching out from our bone. So following a healthy lifestyle plays an important role in keeping our bone health healthy. If we keep our bones healthy, naturally even other organs are also healthy enough and they can function sustainably. So having a good lifestyle is very important. So else supplement with most bioavailable form of calcium and other suitable natural ingredients plays an important role that we have good amount of calcium depositing in our body. That's why we bring to you Calci D Max. Why? Calci D Max have right kind of calcium salt and a right kind of nutrients present in them, the right kind of ingredients that is present in them, which make sure that this supplement makes sure that calcium is well absorbed in our body and we do not have to fear of bone loss or our bones becoming weak. Calci D Max is basically, it has 4 ingredients. So first is calcium citrate malate. So calcium citrate malate is the one of the best kind of salt that is very important, that plays an important role in keeping our bones healthy. Calcium citrate malate is basically, the salt is extracted or it is found from citric and malic acid. So this salt is one of the best salt that helps in increasing the bioavailability of calcium. Taking any kind of calcium, yes, will help in increasing our bone density and improving the bone health, but whether they have the right form of, do they have a right form of bioavailability in them, will they help in depositing calcium inside our bone, is a questionable thing. We do not know whether those calcium salt are good enough to keep our bones strong. That's why calcium citrate malate is one of the best calcium salt that is being got from citric and malic acid. And calcium citrate malate is again a water soluble calcium. We know our body, 70% of body has water in them. So naturally, because of it is water soluble, calcium citrate malate immediately gets absorbed within our body, immediately goes and deposits itself inside our bone. Why? Because it's water soluble. Anything that is water soluble, make sure that it is easily bioavailable, and because our body contains 70% of water, it makes sure that the entire body gets calcium in its right amount. So the ones I told you, in the market you usually find calcium salts like calcium carbonate, calcium phosphate, calcium glucamate. Whether they are right kind of calcium, whether they have good amount of bioavailability in them, can be very debatable. And if you ask me personally, usually these salts are not a good form of calcium that we should be taking, because there is no point of taking a calcium supplement if it does not get deposited in our bone. So naturally our bones will not get healthy. So having a right form of calcium like calcium citrate malate is important, so that our bones are healthy enough and there is no any kind of leaching that takes place. So calcium citrate malate bioavailability, I have already told you, it increases only because it is the right kind of salt, it is also water soluble. So the bioavailability of calcium also increases. Next is vitamin D. When we talk about calcium, we always have to talk about vitamin D because they go hand in hand. These two nutrients, calcium and vitamin D, usually go hand in hand. Why? Because if there is no good right amount of vitamin D in them, then naturally even calcium will not get completely absorbed in our body. So how do we get vitamin D? Vitamin D is usually sourced from the sunlight. So when we expose ourselves to the sunlight, we produce vitamin D inside our body, and 70% of Indians have vitamin D deficiency. Most of us don't like going outside during when it's hot. Why? Because we are scared that we will get tanned, or probably we don't like to get, we don't want to sweat. So naturally we are also losing out on vitamin D. Usually vitamin D, the right time to get vitamin D is around 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. because this is the time where you, at least if you stand for maximum for 10 minutes, you will get good amount of vitamin D. Make sure that your body is completely open, it's exposed to the sunlight. If you wear something like a black jacket, cover your body completely, and if you go outside again, you will not get good amount of vitamin D. So, and most of us, because we are always sitting inside the AC room or always inside the car, or we are traveling, there are a lot of times we do not get good amount of vitamin D. So, having a vitamin D supplement again becomes mandatory. Why? Because if we do not have good amount of vitamin D inside our body, naturally calcium also does not get completely absorbed or deposited in our bones. So, beside bone health, vitamin D insufficiency is linked to diseases, disorders like it can decrease the immunity, it can lead to cardiovascular diseases. So, having vitamin D is important to increase our immunity, for our cardiovascular health, to avoid diabetes, to avoid cancer. So, vitamin D3 is fat soluble vitamin. When we talk about vitamins, we have water soluble and we also have fat soluble vitamins, and vitamin D belongs to fat soluble vitamins and is produced when we are exposed to sunlight. That is when our body can trigger the production of vitamin D. So, how is vitamin D related to bone health? There is a lot of growing interest and importance of vitamin D3 in maintenance of bone health. If there is no good amount of vitamin D, naturally the calcium from our body either gets leached out from the bones, or the calcium will not be well deposited inside our bone. So, vitamin D is essential for not only for our bone health, but also for our muscles, for muscular system, and it helps in calcium absorption from the bowel also, because vitamin D is produced inside our intestine. So, again vitamin D insufficiency may lead to secondary hyperthyroidism, bone loss, muscle weakness, and also it can lead to fracture in old people. So, having right amount of vitamin D, getting exposed to sunlight every day, at least maximum up to 10 minutes, plays an important role not only for vitamin D absorption but also for calcium absorption. So, after calcium citrate malate and vitamin D, let us talk about our next ingredient, zinc monomethionine. Zinc is again a element. Zinc is we need zinc so that calcium and phosphorus are well deposited in our body. It is basically an organic bond. Zinc basically is an organic bond to sulfur containing essential amino acid called methionine. That is why it is called as zinc monomethionine. When zinc is bound to methionine, that is when we get zinc monomethionine. And zinc, like we know, plays an important role in calcium and phosphorus deposition in our bones, so that our bones are healthy enough. So, when we talk about bone health, when we talk about strengthening our bone, calcium itself will not play an important role, but along with vitamin D and zinc, it makes sure that our bones are strong enough and are all does not face any kind of bone loss. So, it is being reported that zinc monomethionine is absorbed better, retained longer, and is more effective than other zinc supplement. That is why our product has zinc monomethionine. Why? Because it makes sure that calcium and vitamin D inside our bones are present, it gets absorbed, and it is also retained, so that we do not have to face any kind of calcium leaching out or bone loss as we start growing older, or any kind of if we are exposed to any kind of diseases. It makes sure our bones are still healthy enough. So, zinc is a trace element that influences cell metabolism through a variety of mechanism and is found in abundance in bone tissues and is needed to maintain bone mineral density. So zinc is present good enough in muscles, it is also present in our RBC, WBC. So for all these organs or tissues to function very well, to function efficiently, zinc again plays an important role. So zinc metabolism uses, bone metabolism uses zinc and is very important. The organic matrix of bone is comprised of proteins, it has also contains right amount of zinc for optimal function. When I showed you the bone image, you could see there was other parts inside the bone, like proteins are present, the blood vessels are present. So the entire bone that comprises of different parts is what we call as bone matrix. To keep the bone matrix healthy and strong enough, zinc again plays an important role. So zinc monometionin is necessary because several studies have shown that for her bone health, to improve her bone health, zinc monometionin specifically plays an important role. As discussed, there are types of cells in bone responsible for bone building. So when we talk about calcium absorption inside the bone, production of cells plays an important role to keep our bones stronger. So these cells which actually produces or keeps our bones stronger are called as osteoblast and osteoclast. Osteoblast creates new bone. So usually during our teenagers, our younger years, that is when this bone is produced, because we are still in a growing stage. So osteoblast is basically cell that helps in producing bones. Osteoclast is basically helps in recycling and treating the old bones. So suppose there is fracture, we need to get back into our normal day-to-day life. Our bones have to become stronger. Osteoclast plays an important role there. Once we slowly start growing old, osteoclast again plays an important role in recycling and keeping our bones healthy. So osteoclast and osteoblast are important cells that plays an important role in building up our bones. So zinc plays an important role in production of these cells, so that there is a formation of new bone. In what way? Zinc helps in production of immature cells to mature cells. So to formation of osteoblast, immature cells have to be converted to mature cells, and here zinc plays an important role. Zinc, because it triggers an activity, triggers an element to produce osteoblast. I will show you the graphical representation of what is being written in this slide. So basically when you take zinc, it helps in triggering which helps in activation of TGF, which what we call as transforming growth factor. Transforming growth factor is one important factor that helps in production of new bone. So zinc makes sure that it activates TGF. So when transforming growth factor beta is activated, immature cells gets converted into matured cells. So without zinc, TGF beta is not activated. If there is no TGF beta does not get activated, naturally our cells from immature cells, it does not get converted into mature cells, and our bones are not able to produce new cells, and naturally our bones become weak. So it is very important that zinc is also being added along with it, so that calcium and vitamin D gets completely absorbed in our body. These are few clinical studies that show how zinc plays an important role not only for our bone health, but also in specifically for men and women. It helps in increasing serum level of calcium and phosphorus. Even the graphical representation also shows in what way, especially during menopause, how calcium plays an important role in absorption, how zinc plays an important role in absorption of calcium inside a bone. And along with all this, we have bioperine in them. Bioperine, all of us know, because of bioperine, most of the ingredients in our supplements can actually get completely absorbed in our body, and their bioavailability increases. Because bioperine is present in this supplement, calcium, vitamin D3 and zinc are increased, their bioavailability increases, and the body is able to absorb all these ingredients into 100%. So, bioavailability is basically when any kind of nutrient or medication or even toxic, when they actually go to the root cause and produces or triggers a mechanism for good or bad, is what we call as bioavailability. In this, because calcium, vitamin D3 and zinc are necessary for bone health to improve its strength or strengthen the bone, bioavailability plays an important role, and bioperine increases that bioavailability, and it also has thermogenesis activity in them. It increases the body's heat. When there is body heat, too much of heat production in our body, naturally again metabolism increases and bioavailability also increases. This again shows in what way bioperine plays an important role, in what way other ingredients or other nutrients are completely absorbed in our body. You can go back and read it properly and see the slides and understand in what way bioperine plays an important role. So, let us understand the benefits of calcium. It helps in it also has an anti-acid property in them. So, calcium is not only for our bone health, but it also has an anti-acid property. So, if somebody has acidity problem or gastritis, they can take calcium because it has anti-acid property in them. It helps in controlling high blood pressure. It also helps in preventing certain cancer. Along with it, it also is important neurotransmitter. So, even for our nerves or for our muscles, for transmission, for the neuron signal to get transmitted, again calcium plays an important role, and it is also reported to help muscle contraction, heart rhythm, and also release of certain hormones. So, when we talk about heart patients, or when we talk about certain if there is muscle cramp, or if there is any problem with our nerves, they usually ask us to take calcium supplement because they trigger the activity, they help in muscle contraction and relaxation, they help in transmission of neurons so that our nerves are activated, and it also helps usually specifically for cardiovascular health, and also to production of certain hormones. So, what are the benefits of zinc? Zinc I have already explained you, but I will just give you a brief summary of it. It usually helps in physiologically, it's important for growth and development, and also healthy function of body system, insulin storage and release, and also for cognition development, so that our memory is also improved, cell membrane integrity, and also for thyroid function. Zinc plays an important role, along with blood clotting and for variety of immune deficiency. So, for all these important zinc has all these important function, not only in bone mineralization, but in certain condition for improvement in blood clotting, or for our cognition health, or for our cell membrane and integrity. Again zinc plays an important role. Zinc, again vitamin D deficiency has long been associated with rickets in children. So, vitamin D plays an important role not only as for calcium absorption, but for other metabolic process that takes place in our body. So, if there is a vitamin D deficiency, usually in children we get to see rickets. In rickets, what happens? Our joints, our bones, our knees become very weak. So naturally a child will not be able to stand properly, will not have a right position to walk nor stand. Their bones become so weak, their knees will not be, are not healthy enough. So they'll have a bent leg, their legs are not up tight or up straight, and their body is and not in a posterior position. So they become very crunched, the knees are bent. So this is what usually we see in a ricket child, and in adults we usually get to see osteomalacia, where there is bone weakening, where there is calcium is leaching out from our bone. So vitamin D plays an important role in calcium mineralization and to keep our bones healthy. Along with that, it also helps in improving in prostate or colon and breast cancer. Vitamin D plays an important role. Other common deficiency symptoms include myopathy and muscle pain, fatigue, muscular weakness. So if there is vitamin D deficiency, our muscles also become weak. Hence taking a vitamin D supplement plays an important role. Exposing ourselves to the sun becomes very important, because we need right amount of vitamin D so that our body does not face any kind of symptoms or any kind of problems like this. So calcium becomes very important. Calcium along with vitamin D, calcium along with zinc plays an important role for bone formation, to increase in its density and also to strengthen the skeleton. That is why Calci D Max is one of the best supplement that you can get your hands on. Why? Because it has calcium in the form of calcium citrate malate, it has zinc in the form of zinc monomethionine, and it has vitamin D3 along with bioperine. So it is a unique combination of clinically proven ingredients to support bone health. Our R&D team, they put lot of effort, they do lot of researches, and they come up with the best ingredients to suit a product, and hence our product becomes one of the best products you can get your hands on, because it has right kind of ingredients we need for our body to function well. And Calci D Max is one such product, because it has all these 4 important ingredients, necessary ingredients to improve our bone health, to keep our bones strong, to improve in its density. And it also has, because of vitamin D3, because of zinc monomethionine, and because of bioperine, their function also increases, and naturally it will obviously have its own unique feature. In what way Calci D Max has to be taken? Well, Calci D Max has to be taken, basically you need to take 2 tablets a day, preferably with water or milk. So if you take 2 tablets in a day, we can assure you that you do not have to face any kind of bone weakness, you do not have to fear of bone loss in future. So it's always better to take a prevention rather than taking a treatment. Even in the form of treatment, if you have any kind of osteoporosis, or if you have, if your bones are very weak and if you have bone pain, you should take Calci D Max. For women specifically post menopause, it's always good if they take OsteoStrong, a supplement that helps in increasing our estrogen level, so there is no calcium leaching out from our bones. So women, Calci D Max and OsteoStrong in combination will make sure that there is no bone weakness or bone loss. For men, they can take Calci D Max and minimum up to 3 months, so that you can see its best results. If you have any kind of queries, or if you want to send us a feedback, or if you have any kind of doubt, you can always send us a mail at sdlive@samidirect.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you get a notification every week before we start up with our every session on different products. Let me all remind you again, no copyright violation, otherwise you will get into unnecessary trouble. Thank you.